Welcome to Mirror Domain's Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. And indeed, this is a live news show for movie fans, movie talk channel indeed. Yes, and we're going to be talking about some productions being shut down from the SAG Strike. What's going to be happening to Oppenheimer then? Will it still have its premiere and stuff? Well, it already did. So we'll talk about that. Red Sonja is going to apparently have a trailer out for Comic-Con this year. Looking forward to that. Ooh, it's not looking good for Snow White live action film. But we start off today's show by talking about the weekend's box office report and Mission Impossible 7 with its huge opening. Tom Cruise leads Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 to a huge box office hit, but maybe not so much in China. China box office, Mission Impossible 7 opens soft in third place. Again, guys, you're going to see this as a common thread for me today. Do studios really need the huge international market like the Chinese box office? Like they've been tailoring a lot of the MCU shows, and they've been trying to get, they cut that stuff out so that they can get into certain markets and stuff like that because they don't want to offend people. But do they really need it to make like $1 billion? Spider-Man No Way Home says no. Mission Impossible 7 says no, you don't need this particular market to make $1 billion. So a soft opening in third. A much smaller and far more flops. China painfully clear. Much smaller hits and far more flops. So yeah, stop trying to make your films tailored. Like, don't cut out something just because you want to make yourself appeal to this market. I know that seems like weird business sense. Like, shouldn't you want to appeal to all markets? Well, ideally, yes, but not at the cost of the greater market. Like, if you're only appealing to like 5%, but like 95% of the people just don't care about that stuff, but you're going to neuter the rest of the 95%, then you see what I'm talking about here? Just to make sure that the 5% is happy. No, you don't do that. You just say, sorry, 5%. Here's our movie. Take it and like it. If you don't like it, then go see it. That's it. The rest of the 95, we're bringing this movie for you guys. And that's what Tom Cruise does, right? And Mission Impossible 7, I went out and saw it this weekend. I think I've shared in the sentiment with a lot of people that I thought it was a great summer blockbuster, great popcorn flick. And as you can see, they try to, I'm not going to bore you with where does it fall in tracking with all the other Mission Impossible. So I'm not going to try to tell you that it's like the most grossing movie for a 5-day opening weekend total. That's just boring stuff. No one really cares about that. Let's just look at the top 5 for this weekend of July 14th to the 16th. 2023, number 1 was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Number 2 was Sound of Freedom. Number 3 was Insidious the Red Door. Cool, man. Number 4 was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And number 5, hanging in there, was Elemental. Thumbs up in my book, Elemental. It's created like a small little separation there between Elemental and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is good because I think that Elemental was a fantastic movie. And I'm glad that it's unfortunately, Elemental had a higher budget, like around $200 million. So it's plus marketing. Maybe it's starting to cross that break-even point. Again, I don't know why Elemental had a $200 million budget, but that's just part of the common problem these days with budgets being just astronomical. Because you look at Insidious the Red Door there, that went. It got bested by Sound of Freedom there. Sound of Freedom. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Talking about lower budget films here. And not needing international markets to be a success. Insidious for its second week dropped down to the third spot for a worldwide total of $122 million. Now, I think this one only had a budget of like $40 million or something like that. So it's already made profit, guys. Insidious the Red Door, which I didn't hate. I didn't hate it. I thought it was fairly good. It was one of those ones where I wasn't. So it's only 16 million, guys. 16 million. Oh, so I really overshot it with 40 million. 16 million and 122. See, Again, that's what you want to do, studios. You can make a Marvel movie for not even 60 million. Let's say you are around the 40 million. Why can't you make a Marvel movie for $40 million, right? But it's got to be big. It's got to be spectacle. You got to have all these big, huge tent cities. No, you don't. You don't. Because you can make movies like Insidious. You can make movies for cheaper, man, and they can. And is profitability not your main factor here? Because we look at things like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny that drops down to the 4th spot in its 3rd weekend, and this without a doubt is one of the summer's big box office bombs, with a reported budget of $295 million, and it's actually being reported somewhere around $350 million was the actual budget for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Plus marketing, plus what the theaters take, this movie would have had to have made, let's be generous here, around 550 just to break even, and it's not going to do that. It's going to be one of the worst bombs of the year. And again, I don't know why the budget's that high. And international market, people aren't showing up for it either. I think they just grotesquely, they didn't give us an Indiana Jones movie. They gave us some weird abstract kind of thing where Indiana Jones is a background character in his own movie, and it's frustrating to talk about because it shouldn't be like that. Just make an Indiana Jones film where Indiana Jones is doing Indiana Jones stuff and he's the main character. Not hard to do. And don't infuse social commentary into your movies, for crying out loud. Now, I preach that, I say that, but Sound of Freedom in the 2nd spot, that's climbing because it's opening up into more theaters, this movie does preach political views. So let's go over and take a look at that right now before we break down Mission Impossible, because that's pretty much straightforward, right? Sound of Freedom, 85 million domestically. Now, notice that there's no international markets yet for this, probably due to the subject matter, the incredible true story of a former government agent turned vigilante who embarks on a dangerous mission to rescue hundreds of children from human traffickers. So, a premise sounds like it should be good, but in the States, it's made by a very politically right-winged perspective. So it's kind of looking down its nose at certain things, all in the same vein of touting, we're for freedom. We want you to have your rights and stuff like that. But secretly, they're trying to take it away from you. That's political stuff. I don't want to talk about that stuff. But it is worth noting because, again, Sound of Freedom is a smaller budget movie, but this will be a success for it. And it has no international numbers. I don't expect this one to have any international numbers because, as I said, from my understanding, this does have political ideologies woven into it, where that will not appeal to any international markets, and because it's specifically tailored for political views within the United States, which means we don't care about the same things. We don't. And something about this looks awfully suspicious too. 72%, if we look at it at the tomato meter, 72% by critics, 100% by the audience. Really? 100%. With over 10,000 verified viewings. So there is an audience for this stuff. As much as I'm saying that there's a political view and spin on this, there's definitely an audience for this. And once we go down and look at some of the snapshot reviews, I was going to try to sneak out and see this, but based on what I'm seeing in the snapshot reviews, I'm not interested. And it sucks because I like Jim Caviezel as an actor. I just don't like his political views. And he's somebody who went down that rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, who's kind of like, he'll be the person that you'll be at a party and you'll be talking and stuff like that. And he'll come up to you and be like, did you have a vaccination shot? Are you vaccinated? And it's like, why is that any of your business? And then he'll say, well, if you are, then I don't want to talk to you. It's that kind of mentality, right? And it sucks because he is a quality actor. He does have range and ability, and maybe and all of that political stuff it's taking away from what perhaps is the core message of this movie, that yes, human trafficking is terrible and awful, but then we do not want to be shoehorned in with a whole bunch of commentary of you should believe in this, vote for this person. It's like, no. And it sucks because Mira Sorvino's in this, and I really I want to champion her work. Anyway, let's take a look at this one here. A blindly competent thriller that finds an easy way into your feelings since it deals with child trafficking, a grave subject matter that has been tragically co-opted as a rallying cry for xenophobic. And I stopped reading it there. I was like, okay, I get it. I understand. I'm not going to go out and see this movie based on this last sentiment, because I'm not going to sit there, and I'm not going to pay money to go and listen to that tripe. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm a movie fan, but I'm not going to pay money to do that. I'll watch it for free, but I'm not going to put down 10 bones and say, okay, now I want to listen to your rhetoric. I want to listen to immigrants are bad. I want to listen to. I'm not going to listen to that straight up. But as movie fans and as responsible people looking at the analytics of things, we acknowledge that there's an audience here for this stuff. And while people look at things like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny as a failure because of the box office, I will still say that you should look at Insidious, $16 million budget, Sound of Freedom, smaller budget, no international market there. This will be a success for this film with only $85 million domestically. This isn't going to be a movie that jumps up to $200 million with an international market. No, it's not. But we have to be aware of it. We have to be kind of cognizant of these things because it's an issue. Not an issue. It's part of our realm, right? Sort of like the uncle that comes over to the family dinners and you're like, I don't know if I want to go near him if he's going to be drinking, kind of thing, right? It's kind of like that, right? That's what that whole movement is, and it's a bummer. It's a bummer because, I don't care. Okay, here it is. If you're funded by those groups and you just put out a normal movie that doesn't have any kind of infusion in it of political fare, fine. I'll go see your movie. The thing is that they say the same things back to us, that Indiana Jones failed because it was too woke. That's what they say back to us, right? I wouldn't say it's just Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny just wasn't that good. Like I was entertained when I watched it. Is it something that I want to go back and watch again? No. Is it something that I would say that you have to check out in the theater? No. It has its value for movie fans. So could I possibly see through that for Sound of Freedom? Could I give it a chance? There's lines in the sand there, right? And we all have them. As I said, I would watch it for free. I just won't pay for it. Okay, so let's take a look at somebody who liked it from Variety. In a conventional pulp way, we've glimpsed the heart of darkness. We've seen something about our world that makes the desire to take action seem more like an action movie gesture. Oh, Sean Chandler liked it, huh? Let's take a look at what he said. A powerful, tense thriller which manages to tackle sensitive subject matter without getting exploitive. Oh, okay. Well, he says that it's not exploitive. There are some pacing issues, and the film would have been better 20 minutes shorter, but it is also one of the most impactful movies of the year. It's just this statement that really that impacts me. It does, because I have none of that. I don't want any of it. Anyway, I've ragged on that. Let's get into the big success of the weekend. Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So we got an $80 million or 80 million domestic opening, but as you can see here, it's only reporting 56. So it's because it was a 5-day weekend, and I know some pundits will try to get, we'll break down the numbers of it. Oh, it's being the best 5-day opening ever for the Mission Impossible series. Whatever. 155 million internationally. Now, this movie is going to be one of those ones that will rely a lot more on the international box office, but it will get those numbers from like the Indian market, the European market, and such. As we've seen from the Chinese market, not so much, but it's going to be fine. This had a reported budget of around 291 million. Massage that up to about 300 million. It's going to make its money back. Because it hasn't opened up everywhere just yet, but good word of mouth. It's going to run up against Barbie and Oppenheimer this weekend. So we had to be cognizant of that. But it's got like the really good, astoundingly good word of mouth. High 90s, mid 90s, right? For Dead Reckoning. And as I said, despite the fact that it's got that one glaring thing in there that makes me go, no, just how ridiculous it is. The rest of it, it's like it's completely overshadowed with the rest of this, with the material in this. The acting is on point. The stunt work, you go see it because you know you're actually watching stunt work, right? It's like you go to Universal Studios and you watch one of those shows, the stunt shows, and it's like, oh, that's entertaining because it's actually people doing the stunts. It's not somebody on a green screen stage sitting in a car pretending to drive down a dam. I'm sorry. Fast 10 is my punching bag. It truly is. But that's how farcical it is. And it's ridiculous because Fast 10 did do practical stunts with the cars on the freeway and expressway and stuff. So it's kind of like, why did you do it for that? And why would you make that then the CGI part, your final big action piece? Anyway, Mission Impossible almost sort of did the same thing too with its big CGI and action piece. But, the train sequence, aside from that one glaring thing, I thought it paid off in spades. And that's the sentiment that a lot of people have had. It's just one of those things where, yeah, the running time was a little bit long, 2 hours and 45 minutes. My full review is up on the channel now. My straight out of the theater reactions up on the channel. I was happy. I was satisfied by Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And so were a lot of people, actually. For me, the standout was Haley Atwell. Mission Impossible star Haley Atwell has waited 17 years for her true blockbuster moment, and she got it. She got it a couple of times. There were a couple of scenes, especially in the train sequence, and then there was like a whole airport sequence where it was like her introduction. It was like, oh wow, she's really holding her own with Tom Cruise, and there's like a banter back and forth, like a jousting of like of wits, and she holds her own with Tom Cruise, and it's awesome to see. It truly is. So she got her moment, and I'm happy for that. Really happy for that. And I liked her in the MCU. I liked seeing her as the that version of Captain America in it was the only decent part of Multiverse of Madness. She's just awesome. Agent Carter, she's great, and she's awesome in this. Jaw-droppingly stunning. Like the camera loves her, and I was just every time that she was on the screen, I was just like, wow. And as I said, the stunts in this, yes, it was Tom Cruise driving the car. It was her driving the car because you've seen the behind-the-scenes footage of them doing it. So it's kind of like that pays off. That paid off on the screen big time, huge. It's like you feel the adrenaline, right? And it was cool. So there's like a big article up there on Hollywood Reporter that's like got an interview with Haley Atwell. The bad guy, I don't know. That was maybe one of the weaker points, but we'll see how that pans out in the second part. I talked about that in my review and such. So, let's just try to recap this here. I expect Sound of Freedom now to start kind of leveling out here. Because Sound of Freedom started out in smaller theaters. It only had like 700 theaters in its first weekend, and now it went up to 2,000 last weekend, and now it's up to 3,000. Just because word of mouth, again, it's getting out there. I don't expect it to leapfrog Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, but it's going to be up against Oppenheimer, and it's going to be up against Barbie next week. And I think, let's take a look at Mission Impossible dropping down. Because see here it says 56, but we know that it's actually 80 million. Let's say that gets chopped in half. Let's be generous. 40 million. So let's say Mission Impossible drops down to 40 million. Sound of Freedom's not going to jump up to 40 million. Can Barbie make more than 40 million? Oppenheimer is not going to make more than $40 million. Because it's a 3-hour film. It's smaller, niche. It's Christopher Nolan, but it doesn't have that wide appeal. It's got us movie fans intrigued on it for sure. So what I'm forecasting, what I predict, I don't even know if Barbie is going to make 40 million though. That's the thing. So I would say Mission Impossible is going to retain number one. Barbie will be Mission Impossible will be number one with about 40 million. Barbie will be like 35 million, I think. And then Oppenheimer will be 3 with about 25, perhaps. Maybe Barbie and Oppenheimer will be switched. I don't know. But I don't know if they'll have enough in the tank to beat Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And then Sound of Freedom will be number 4. And then Insidious. Insidious will hang in there in the 5th spot. Hourglass Vikings in the live chat says Oppenheimer not making 40 million. I'll take that bet. Yeah. It's just that one I think is a fairly safe thing that it won't. Because it's going to have fewer screenings during the day because it's 3 hours. And then it's just kind of, it's not being touted as a big action piece kind of thing. It's going to be a spectacle to see because it's Christopher Nolan and he shot it on IMAX. And you hear good things about the acting from Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt. The whole cast, it's star-studded. It's kind of like, it's got things in its favor. But I mean, even Asteroid City. Asteroid City had a star-studded cast. And that's petered out now, right? Down in the 12th spot. That sucks. So, Mission Impossible, I still think is going to be number 1. Barbie, Oppenheimer, Sound of Freedom, Insidious, Red Door. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think Mission Impossible may even hold on for 3 weeks because at the end of the month you're going up against Talk to Me. No, maybe not. It's Talk to Me and Haunted Mansion come out at the end of the month. So those will have some fuel, some ammunition behind it. So before we close out this segment, there was, Pfeiffer says, never heard of Sound of Freedom. Well, I talked about that at length here for too long, I think. There was a poll up for the best Mission Impossible movie up on, what was it, Joe Blow? Let's pull up that. Let's talk about that. Best or favorite Mission Impossible film. Now, a lot of people may say the first one, but I think this one it took a few of them to find its footing. I really enjoyed the J.J. Abrams one, oddly enough. But a lot of that had to do with like Philip Seymour Hoffman as the villain. Kerry Russell wasn't in that one. I really enjoyed that one. The John Woo experiment with the number 2. It was a valiant attempt. It just didn't quite work, right? So let's go over and take a look at the poll. What would you vote for? I found myself in the theater watching Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I was thinking I really liked Fallout, man. I really liked Fallout too. What was it? Ghost Protocol was the one in Dubai, right? Oh, no. No, I didn't like that one. I liked Paula Patton in that one. Rogue Nation. Fallout. What would you guys vote? What would you vote for? I think Fallout was so good, man. It totally was. For me, it's between Fallout, Mission Impossible 3, or Dead Reckoning 2. I just like, yeah, Arglass says there. It did feel like a turning point with number 3, didn't it? That's where it found its footing. But Fallout is so good. Because I was just thinking about that throwdown with Henry Cavill, the multiple throwdowns with Henry Cavill. It's just like he was such a good villain. He was such a good focal point, and you didn't get that with Dead Reckoning, right? You kind of got like, oh, it's the computer that's against you kind of thing. But then again, Philip Seymour Hoffman with number 3 was so good too. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he really brought it. Oh, mercy, 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 mercy. I don't know, man. No, I'm gonna no. Let's go with Fallout number 1. Let's say that. Let's see what other people voted. Yeah, they said Fallout too. Oh, and they said Ghost Protocol was their second favorite. Mission Impossible 3 is up there, so I'm kind of in tune with that. Mission Impossible 1 is up there with only 136 votes. The least favorite one was the John Woo Experiment, number 2. Really, Dead Reckoning was that low. That one will see. Dead Reckoning is going to age. I don't know if it's going to age better. I don't know. You know, they just showed that kick sequence from number 2. Here's like, this is John Woo's flavor and style, right? I appreciated the attempt of them driving towards themselves with the motorcycles flying through the air. I appreciated the attempt. It just didn't suit the style of, like, yeah, him hanging off the plane. Yeah, I agree. Fallout is still probably the best one, and I liked the arcs in Fallout too, with the CA, with the with Alec Baldwin, right? Yeah. Dead Reckoning is incomplete. Yeah, maybe that's why, because Dead Reckoning is a 2-parter. I think that one will go up. It'll rank higher as we move on. But yeah, Mission Impossible 3 is still also really good. It truly is. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Let's take a look at some of the live comments. Bifer says Fallout is the best Mission Impossible movie. I agree with that. Mission Impossible 3 was the turning point of the franchise. Arglass says it was gritty and impactful. Yes, it was. And it opened. That opening scene for Mission Impossible 3 is like, wow. Like, Philip Seymour Hoffman really sold that, right? It's like, don't you think I will do it? It's like, yeah. Bifer says his order is 6, 5, 4, 1, 7, 3, and 2. Really? You don't like 3? Dead Reckoning is incomplete. Yeah. I'm sure everybody's going to publish their lists and stuff like that. I don't know if I got time this week to do one. But before we move on from the box office, I just want to talk about one more thing. And it's kind of a bummer thing. Because it did come up in an article here that I brought up. The Flash dropping all the way down to the 13th spot. It's done. It's done because we know that we just saw on the weekend there that it's getting its 4K release there in August. Again, this will go down in the history books as one of the big bombs of this year. But I pulled this article that says The Flash's box office failure makes Batgirl's canceled movie cut worse. I don't know how. So what are you talking about here, man? There are many reasons why the Flash movie failed. Yeah, we went through all that stuff. It was a culmination of certain things, right? But what does this have to do with the Batgirl movie with Leslie Grace? I still would have seen that movie despite how terrible it looked. The sad truth is that the Batgirl movie would have likely made more money than the Flash movie, and could have bolstered the franchise's reputation. Is that what you're guessing? I don't know about that, man. Flash is already on VOD for home watchers. Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It dropped. The digital release dropped already. Uh, Imagine it. Yeah, maybe were they worried that the Batgirl movie was going to make more than the Flash? The Flash was going to like was it going to like no Batgirl was not going to make more than 260. It wasn't going to be like that. Batgirl would have made around 150, maybe. Uh, what are they smoking over here on Screen Rant? Uh, yeah, it had J.K. Simmons in it as Commissioner Gordon. Brendan Fraser was the bad guy. I would have checked it out. Uh, I I I like the casting of Leslie Grace. I would have seen it, man. Um, I would have seen it, and it would have had Michael Keaton in there as Batman. Of course, they changed directions in that. So yeah, uh, it is what it is. Ethan Hunt is showing less vulnerability the older character gets. He was more emotional in the early movies. Even the first movie, he has more human. He was more human in his emotion. Yeah, um, that's a good criticism there, Art Glass, because um, he's kind of become nothing can hurt me, nothing will phase me. I'm indestructible, kind of thing, right? Um, because when his wife is Michelle Monaghan or whatever, when she was in peril, he was on. Um, and even in that opening sequence when they're trying to save Kerry Russell in Mission Impossible 3, yeah, he emoted a lot more, right? As long as he doesn't become emotionless like Vin Diesel in the Fast and Furious movies, then I think we're okay. But we know that Tom Cruise can bring that level. We know that he can, right? So let's go on to more movie news topics. Let's just take a quick break here while we're halfway through the show. Guys, there are all my other social media handles. Um, what else can you find here on the channel? Well, over the weekend, Bird Box Barcelona came out, and we did a reaction for that. First movie's up there as well. So Bird Box Barcelona is up on the channel right now, and the people that are watching it are actually really enjoying it, actually. Um, it's really if you like the first movie, it's not a rinse and repeat. It's not, and that's why I really like Bird Box Barcelona. We do full reactions for things like Black Widow, Secret Invasion. We're up to episode 5 this week, guys. We're only 2 more episodes left in this season, and I suspect that this is going to be the only season that Secret Invasion gets because nobody's watching it, which sucks because it's actually not that bad. My reviews are up for Insidious, The Red Door, Joyride, and I forgot to put the thumbnail in there for the Mission Impossible movie. Whatever, but that's current. I'll put that in the reels for tomorrow. Um, yeah, lots of fun here on Mirror Domains, and as the strike has happened, we're going to have to find content to talk about if you know, there isn't any movie news because productions are going to get shut down, right? Yeah, Our Glass says Bird Box Barcelona has really lingered with me. It was a great story angle. Yeah, it has. I found myself thinking about that towards all weekend actually. Just them trying to get to that gondola and this, yeah, the way things unfolded. Like it was an angle that the typical thing to do from the studios would just to do a rinse and repeat. Oh, it's a Bird Box scenario, but it's in Barcelona this time. No, they didn't do that. They did it they took it from a different perspective, and that was wow. Anyway, let's talk about the SAG strike. This is going to be kind of like a thing that uh, people are going to be mining this for material about what this person said and what it's going to be impacting and stuff like that. Basically, Iger's become sort of kind of like the token punching bag for a lot of pundits out there because of his comments about well, Disney and how the MCU is going to be handled and stuff like that, and saying that Fran Drescher, who is leading this charge of the actors, um, puts him on blast, saying that his comments were tone deaf. So, what were his comments? Let's just take a look. Um, Bob Iger patted his own back while slapping down the actors union, stating that we managed as an industry to negotiate a very good deal um, with our Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to this business. We wanted to do the same with the writers. We'd like to do the same with the actors. There's a level of expectation that we have that's just not realistic, and that we are adding to the set of the challenges that this business is already facing, quite frankly, very disruptive. This did not sit well with Dresser. Obviously. Obviously it didn't. Basically, he's just saying, well, the directors played ball. The directors played ball. Why couldn't the writers and the actors? They should do what they're told to do, kind of thing. It's like, yeah, that's a bit tone deaf. And we'll see, because Feige works under Iger, right? So we'll talk about the Marvel quote here in just a bit. So Fran Drescher on the picket line said, I found his comments terribly repugnant and out of touch. Positively tone deaf. I don't think it served him well. If I were that company, I would lock him behind doors and never let him talk to anybody about this, because it's so obvious that he has no clue as to what's happening on the ground with hardworking people that don't make anywhere near the salary he is making. High 7 figures, 8 figures is this crazy amount of money they make, and they don't even care about the barons, like they're the land barons of medieval times. Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Now, we have to be cognizant here of corporate structure. Yes, CEOs get paid a lot more. It's understandable. But when you're getting paid a salary where if you could just got paid one of those salaries, you, your family, your children's families for generations, if you for 1 year's salary, your family, your kids, and your grandchildren and their kids for the rest of their lives would be set up in houses and educations. You wouldn't have to work a single day in your life for the rest of your lives and their lives for 1 year's salary that Bob Iger makes. Yes, $40 million can be stretched that amount. Yes, it can. He gets more than that, right? He's living in these big lavish houses with tens of thousands of things at his disposal. Is just kind of like, but then he's like trying to squeeze the small man, right? And they'll try to spin it that, oh, well, this is like the rich actors, like the Tom Cruises, like the Brad Pitts, that are saying that we're getting mistreated. No, the actors are going on strike for the little man here. They're going for the extras that will have their face scanned, and then I guess the studios will be able to use their faces forever, so they don't have to show up on set anymore. It's how AI is going to be infecting this industry, and they want to make sure that this side of the aisle doesn't get carried away with it, right? And I don't understand why. As I said, for 1 year's salary, what this guy earns, himself, his family, his children, his grandchildren could be set up for life, never have to work a day. They could go to college, they could go to university, and it's all paid for with just 1 year's salary for him, what this guy earns. But he's got to earn it for like 5, 10, 40 years. It's kind of like, what the heck is going on, right? Now, I understand that's the corporate structure. We have to live and accept with that. But if he's complaining that 1 year he's going to make a couple million less, that's where it seems like a little bit petty, right? That you can't trickle that down. You can't trickle that down like the way that the certain side of politics in the States says that the rich people are supposed to trickle it down. They don't. So there you go. That's sort of the wall that's separating the sides there. AI is a huge factor in this. It's going to be a huge factor. As I said about the extras coming in and they scan their faces and they can use your visage in background shots for any movies that they decide that they want to make. There's going to be things where, as an actor, you come in and shoot it for a couple of days and they can just scan your face and alter your face in other scenes to fit lines that they want to have you say. They can do that now, right? And it's kind of like, well, we got to make sure that there's there's pay for that, right? This side will say, no, we don't, we can have you for a day, we'll shoot your image, and then that's it, we're done with you, kind of thing. No, no. Why? What's the point? Why? Just pay the actors what they're earned. Uh, again, we go back to the box office. And yes, it doesn't work for The Flash, but it works for things like Insidious, $60 million budget. All those actors got paid what they were promised, right? I'm sure that maybe a few stagehands or a few extras on the side in like graveyard scenes and stuff were kind of like, well, this is a long day, it sucks, but that's just that's the other side of the spectrum. And you can't, for a couple $1,000,000 of your salary on that side, you can't make sure that those people are taken care of for the better of the business as a whole. You can't do that. So that's my understanding of it. And there's going to be a jousting back and forth here. There again, this is going to be just like the writer's strike, where it's going to be, they're going to be using time as one of the jousting tools, poking back and forth. Well, we can sit on our hands. But one of the executives at the company said something like, well, we got enough fuel in here that we'll wait until actors and writers start to lose their houses. That should never be part of the equation. That's how long that they're willing to wait. To have that mentality. To say, yeah, I'm okay with you losing your house. Just because I want to be able to save an extra $2 million that we can put on our bottom line, and I'll get a $5 million bonus at the end of the year, even though I already make $20 million a year. That's the battle that they're fighting right now. So, Marvel over in Kevin Feige's department, because Feige answers to Bob Iger, also said some stuff about this. We recognize how much you've all done on your specific projects. It's disappointing when carefully laid plans have to shift, but constant change is the nature of the production business, and our teams are no stranger to unexpected challenges and rise to meet them, Feige and Esposito said to Hollywood Reporter. We deeply appreciate all your efforts to make the best of the situation, and we can hope that a new agreement will be finalized soon so we can resume work. Yeah, because the fallout now, we have to look at what's going to get canceled. Venom 3 canceled, right? Things getting shut down to productions. Venom 3, Dead Reckoning Part 2 is now going to be a shutdown. Deadpool 3 shut down because actors, they can't go and work on the sets. They can't go out and promote their movies. They can't go to award shows. They can't talk about it because that's work. They can't do that. So that's primarily in the North American markets. Now, from what I'm understanding, there's a few projects that will have some religious exemptions here in the States. And there's some stuff in the UK TV show-wise that if they've already started, they can finish it, like House of the Dragon Season 2. But for the most part, a lot of the productions will get shut down. And all of those release dates that we talked about, like a month ago from the MCU that got shifted around, they're going to get shifted around again. And we said that when we went through it. So this is just part of the fallout. And this is part of the weaponry. This will be a tool in the arsenal of the actors and stuff to say, well, hey, your productions aren't getting made. You're not going to make money. Hey, I'm losing my house, but you're also losing out on the money with the shareholders and stuff like that. Just come to a middle ground then, man. Yeah, obviously both sides will never get what they absolutely want, but make sure that you're not going to get strong-armed or bested into like situations that are just self-defeating. And anyway, if you guys are sports fans, I am. We experienced this with baseball. We've experienced this with hockey, with shutdowns and labor disputes, and it's just like the time is a weapon that they use. It's like, how long can you hold out, kind of thing. It sucks when you're going to come to the agreement table and make the same agreement like months from now to say, okay, I concede. But why do we have to go through the 20 months for you to concede, right? Why can't you just do it now? Yeah. Kevin Davis in the live chat says Oppenheimer domestic box office debut prediction is 20 to 30 million. Yeah, so it's not Oppenheimer's not going to make more than Dead Reckoning Part 2 or Part 1 in its second week. Barbie domestic prediction is 40 to 60. Yeah. Well, see, now that would be surprising if Barbie did make more than 40 million. I would be happy with that. I was thinking around 35. But good word of mouth. Good word of mouth. Is Barbie up on Rotten Tomatoes yet? The embargo's got to drop soon, right? Because it's this Thursday it comes out, right? Um, this one is just going to be silly. We know that Barbie is going to be silly, and it's going to be just hopefully fun. And the runtime, oh, it's an hour and 54 minutes? Oh, shoot. I thought it was going to be like an hour and 30 minutes. Okay. Um, yeah. Well, we'll see how it fits out. Because remember, this is 56 million here, but we know that it's actually 80 million, right? If Barbie becomes number one, I'll be I'll be happy. I'll be happy. Where are we at with shutdowns? Are we done through shutdowns? No, we're not. We're talking about Oppenheimer. Let's talk about that because the cast, because of the strike on Friday, they walked out of the premiere and in solidarity of the actors. So all the press tour is done now for Oppenheimer and Barbie. They're not going to be able to promote the movie anymore. What they've got is what they've done. So I stand with them doing that, and this can't be safe. It's got to be to have bite. Christopher Nolan says, and the cast unleash Oppenheimer. So it's just going to have to run its course. And for all the reasons that I said earlier, like the cast I hear is great in this, the acting is great in this. Cinematography wise, we know that Nolan's going to bring it because of his fascination with IMAX. Oppenheimer director Christopher Nolan will absolutely not work, though, until another film, on another film until the strike ends. Oh, well, that's interesting. Because we know Nolan's always got his wheels spinning. He's always got something on the burner, right? In the background. He's always got something cooking. But I guess he's saying that he's going to stand with the actors as well. And he's a director. Directors settled their deal. So directors can work. But you can't work on something if you're writing it. You can't work on it if you're working with actors blocking stuff, right? So it's kind of like directors and their deal, they're just kind of sitting there out in the water waiting for the rest of the team to show up. It's kind of like, yeah. But it's cool. You know, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, seems like he's a true mensch. Everything that I hear about him, too. He's a sharp dude. You listen to him talk about, like, other films and stuff. He knows what's going on. He's very perceptive. I think you would have to be to craft like a masterpiece that is Inception. Um, yeah, it's not about me. No, absolutely not. It's very important that everybody understands it is a very key moment in the relationship between working people of Hollywood, the working people and Hollywood. This is not about me. This is not about the stars of my film. This is not about me. This is not about the stars of my film. So, yeah, well, that's good. That's cool. Um, Nolan always has my respect. So let's go see what some people are saying about this. He's not standing up for anything. He voted in favor of the DGA covering that. Well, you don't understand the situation if that's your perspective. See, that's closed-mindedness. Just looking at that, I acknowledge that the directors concluded their deal, and I wouldn't say that they caved. They punted on some stuff, which both sides will have to do for the writers and actors as well. Somebody trying to dish it back in his face. They just, again, maybe this is an actor. Maybe this is a writer who's got some beefs. Yeah. hey, you know what? I'm not going to knock this too much because this is where people come to vent their frustrations, right? This is a healthy way. As long as you're not attacking somebody's like personal life, you're attacking the situation. This is a good cathartic way, maybe, of dealing with that. Yeah. All right. Some more live comments. Watch more Indian, Asian, and French movies. Yeah, I want to get back. I've been really inspired lately to try to get back to Mirror Domains India channel. I'm going to resurrect it. When we come back from our break in August, I'm going to try to resurrect it. I'm going to try to give it some real time. Did you enjoy Tenet? I enjoyed Tenet in the theater. I thought it was a really good film. I didn't have the sound problems that some people complained about, like the audio issues, but I was sitting close to the screen, so I could hear everything, right? I didn't enjoy Tenet that much on the second viewing because I watched it on Netflix because I was like, well, I liked it in the theater. I didn't enjoy it so much the second time through. I still like it because it really introduced me to Elizabeth Debicki. I thought she was a standout in it. But yeah, Kevin Davis says Barbie domestic office total run prediction is 150 to 200 million. International total run prediction is 450 to 500. Well, Kevin Davis, if Barbie made 450 million worldwide, I think that would be a huge success for Barbie. Yeah, it would be. No, that's a higher budget for Barbie than I thought. I thought it would be like 100 million or something, right? It's a little bit higher than I thought, a little bit higher than I wanted to see. You got to get these budgets down, man. Studios have to get these budgets down. They do. All right. Blue Beetle is going to run into this wall of production issues because it's not going to be able to promote its stars. Blue Beetle comes out next month, and while I like the trailers, I did, and I'm really rooting for this film. Blue Beetle Sholo Mariduena says James Gunn really enjoyed the movie. Okay, well, good. James Gunn. If James Gunn likes it, then that means it's okay, right? Well, James Gunn's taking over the MCU, and people are still questioning if Blue Beetle's going to be part of the new DCU, MCU, no, of the new DCU or not. They don't know. We don't know how he's going to fit in. James Gunn says that he's going to be one of the new characters, but will it be this Blue Beetle? I don't know. He said, I just remember James Gunn said, has this really exciting energy to him all the time, but, well, of course, he met him, so he's like fanboying over him. But the marketing for this has just started to ramp up with his second trailer that dropped, right? And it's going to suck because the actors and they're not going to be able to go out and do the red carpets or the premieres and promote this film. They're not going to be able to go out and do the press tours and the press junkets and the interviews to promote the film. The late night shows, can you do that at least? I don't know if you can go to the late night shows. So, like, this is the only kind of, like, a testimonial from Zolo about James Gunn is like, is that the best you can, is that all that remains for promotion? That sucks. And it's good. I would say, guys, if you are a fan of Blue Beetle and this actor, if you're a fan of this property, brace yourself. Because even Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is not the huge, big smash. Like, it is a smash, but it's not like Super Mario Bros. Hit. No movies this summer have really been hugely knocking it out of the park, right? So we can only hope that it's got good word of mouth. People come out saying that it's a good film. It's short. It's concise. It delivers on its fare. Go check it out. That's the only thing we can hope on, because we're not going to get a lot of marketing behind this anymore for Blue Beetle, which kind of sucks. Yeah, that's just kind of like the impending fallout of what this is all going to entail from the strike. I'd be happy with Blue Beetle was a standalone movie. I'd hate for the DCEU to have the same pitfalls as the MCU, essentially becoming catch-up, intertwined homework. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on to Comic-Con stuff, huh? Well, we've got a few Comic-Con headlines here that I'm going to try to put in here. Let's talk about Red Sonja, and then we'll talk about some stuff that's not going to be at Comic-Con. The Red Sonja trailer is going to be there, apparently. It will debut. A teaser trailer will be at San Diego Comic-Con. And no, this is the old Red Sonja here. If I could find a copy of that version of Red Sonja, we would do a full live watch along of that one. Bridget Nielsen, I thought she was a perfect casting for it. Not the greatest actress, but she worked. It was suitable for it. And of course, it had Arnold in there. But yeah, there's a reboot coming out. And I guess they're going to have a panel there. One of the few movie studios that's going there, because we know that some studios are not going to go there. In addition to a retrospective discussion. Yeah, the trailer, the panel is scheduled to take place this Friday. So 11 a.m. So yeah, this Friday that makes sense with Barbie and Oppenheimer to drop the trailer for Red Sonja. This is our only image from it, right? Am I looking forward to the Red Sonja movie? Yes, I am. Red Sonja. Rona Mitra Doomsday is going to be in this. Okay, Lutz. Yeah. So, and I was thinking about this. Like this sword and sandal stuff, or um, like the sword fighting and stuff. This Matilda Lutz is my favorite. Yeah, I think she's going to be great, and I think this is one of those ones where I hope it comes and this is like a sleeper hit that people like. Well, what is Red Sonja? And then us movie fans go out and see it, and our good word of mouth will sell this movie. I hope that's what this is. You know. So we'll get our first look this Friday by the sounds of it. Details of the plot are kept under wraps, although Red Sonja is a fearsome warrior boasting a high degree of skill with a sword. And I just don't make the plot over convoluted. Make it simple. Maybe they're after a MacGuffin of some kind. She goes out, she fights, she defeats the bad guy at the end. We all have our bag of popcorn going, yay, yay. Oh, that's kind of fun. Oh, that's silly. And then we walk out and say that, yes, Red Sonja was a lot of fun in the theaters. Go check it out. That's what we want to say, right? Yeah. Rona Mitra, too. We need to see more of her. She was like the first model that was used for Lara Croft in the first Tomb Raider game. And she was in Underworld, yeah, Rise of the Lycans, Doomsday, Last Ship Shooter, Hollow Man. Good actress. She's an actress that's kind of like flown under the radar for a lot of things, but she's been in the background of many, many things. She can hold her own. All right. So what's not going to be at Comic-Con? Dune Part 2, skipping Comic-Con due to the strike. Yeah, the strike has pulled out a lot of things too, right? Because as I said, again, you can't go to these things, which makes me kind of weird to say that they're, well, I guess it's just a trailer then, right? And I guess the directors and producers can go to it and promote it, but the actors themselves, so the actor, Matilda Lutz, won't be there then, is that what you're saying? How could they force her to be there then? Huh. Yeah, that one's going to be kind of interesting to see. But yeah, Doom Part 2 won't be there. Abbott Elementary, Jury Duty, Wheel of Time among cancellations. Yeah. So Doom Part 2, I guess Was that one of the few films that was planning to be there? Because we know that the DCU wasn't going to be there. We know that Marvel wasn't going to be there. We know Disney's not going to be there. So there wasn't much left. Legendary is going to have a presentation. Yeah, we looked at the schedule last week. Again, and then the few that remained are getting pulled because of they might as well just cancel that. Yeah, that's what I would say. But they've already scheduled in the things. They've rented the hall. Might as well go there. Oh no, Comic-Con might actually have to be about comics for once. Yeah, how about that? How about that? Comic-Con about comics. Yeah. Yep. Arglass Viking says, with there being no Marvel panel or Doom, maybe the smaller productions will get fair airing like Red Sonja. Well, that'll be good too. Good point there, Arglass. That if the big studio houses aren't there, and if the teaser trailer delivers and gets good buzz, indeed, it'll be the right time for a smaller production like Red Sonja to capitalize on the situation. All right, Snow White live action. Talking about capitalizing on the situation. Oh, we're running overtime today a little bit. That's okay. Whatever. Snow White. That's probably because I ragged on the Sound of Silence too long. Anyway, or Sound of Freedom or whatever it's called. Snow White live action is coming up. And this is a story that broke like last week and people put out their videos for it. But Rachel Ziegler takes a firm stance on Snow White casting backlash and spreads positivity. Ever since that she was announced, it was kind of like, but that's not what Snow White looks like. And it's like, oh, whatever. She can sing. I had no issue with it. What I had issue with was the costuming. Costuming looked absolutely terrible. Gal Gadot is going to be our evil queen, and I hear good things about that. But let me see if I can pull up a picture of her in her Snow White costume, because it looks absolutely atrocious. It was the first thing that made me go, guys, seriously, you looked at this and you said that this is what you wanted to go with? What are you guys thinking? What are you smoking? Right? Because I want some of it. How does this look good? This looks awful. Now, we haven't seen it in motion. I understand that. We haven't seen it in motion, but and I got no problems with her as a casting. I hear Gal Gadot had fun playing the evil queen, so I'm looking forward to that. But there's some images that came out last week that people saw about the dwarves, and they're saying that these images are fake. This is what the dwarves are going to be looking like. Maybe. Some of them aren't dwarves. So it's kind of like there's her stand-in. And people are like, again, why are you changing up the dwarves? Did you not pay attention last year when Peter Dinklage came out and blasted them for having dwarves being in the movie and stuff? So of course they've got to alter things, right? The studios come out and said these are fake images. So that's why I never ran with it. Again, the pundits out there that use that spin for political fare to get people riled up and all angry and stuff, that this isn't our Snow White, this isn't our Seven Dwarves. How dare you make one of them taller than normal? How dare you use normal people? How dare you make one of them a female? It's like, guys, seriously, that's what you would choose to get angry over. How about it just reserving judgment until you see the movie and base it on that merit? You know, like, unless it's a situation like Sound of Freedom, right? Where it's clearly got about a subject matter that's touchy, right? Getting your self worked up over things not looking the way that you think that they should, that's not an issue. Paying money to have some propaganda shoved down your throat, that's an issue. Anyway, yeah, So Rachel Zegler still going to bat for this film. And I would just say the same caveat that I just said to the Blue Beetle fans out there. Brace yourself. None of these have been really like, I liked the live action mermaid, and I actually prefer the live action mermaid over the cartoon one. But not many people went out to see it. It didn't do well at the box office because it was on Disney Plus. It was on Disney Plus like a month later, right? So it's kind of like, is it even worth watching in the theater? Should we spend all this money to go to the theater to see it? Let me see. Little Mermaid. Yeah. No, it's not out on Disney Plus yet, but it will be soon, hopefully. All right. Nah. People will hate. People will get outraged and make videos on YouTube about it, and they'll get the clicks. But I guess maybe I'm just gonna wait till the trailer comes out. I would reckon you could buy that same Snow White costume in Walmart. It doesn't seem screen quality. Yeah, that's something. Maybe it just it just looks bad. It's like we know she can sing. We know the concept of the story, right? I'm looking forward to Gal Gadot as the evil queen. I'm looking forward to seeing, because she said that she wanted to play, and I want to see that. All right, we'll wait and see. All right, but I wanted to acknowledge those shots about the dwarves and stuff. So let's go into some hit or miss, and then we'll wrap up the show. James Cameron says no, he's not making an Ocean Gate movie. Yeah, because there's some rumors and speculation, I guess. I don't respond to offensive rumors in the media usually, but I need to now. I'm not in talks about an Ocean Gate film, nor will I ever be. Yeah, those rich people that went down in the sub and got crushed trying to look at the Titanic. There's talks about trying to make like a live action movie of that. And I guess fan speculation said, well, what better person to do that than James Cameron? And it's kind of like, guys, right now to talk about making a movie about that is extremely in bad taste. And Cameron acknowledges that. And that's why he says it's offensive, right? I think that's a little bit of a hit. Not surprisingly, James Cameron was the go-to source. I'm struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself. Yeah, it's kind of like, no, guys, come on, that's grotesque. How would a movie like this even work? Because you know exactly how it works. It's going to end with them. Plus, they're rich, guys. The people that died in there were rich. Do you want to watch a bunch of rich people saying, well, how should we spend our money? We just got rich by making a bunch of writers lose their houses. So it's kind of like, let's spend a whole bunch of extra money going underwater. No, nobody wants to watch that. All right, let's move on. Star Wars The Acolyte will bring a record-breaking number of diverse Jedi to the screen. I pulled this one because, again, talking about social commentary narratives being woven in. What do you mean diverse? Jedi are all aliens and stuff like that. We're not all humanoids. What are you talking about? They've always been diverse. Did you not see the Jedi Council? Who? Mace Windu was the only human, and Obi-Wan in the third movie was like, they were the only humans on the Jedi Council. What are you talking about? Diverse. They were always diverse. I would say the Acolyte stands out because, yeah, no, I'm not even going to get into this. Because again, it's that social commentary narrative that people like to weave into their things. And it's like, there's a time and place for that. But the way that this is worded, it almost sounds like this was a mandate by the showrunners. You got to put in diversity. It's like, no. talk about making a good story first. Artglass says, I'm cool reserving judgment on the dwarves, but changing imagery and possibly the names of the characters would create a whole new different dynamic. Aren't we being sold a bill of goods? Yeah, exactly. Well, that point is well taken. If you changed it too much, is it really then Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? It's not. It's just Snow White and seven people that work in a mine. One of them just happens to be a dwarf. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, finally we got a Taylor Swift update. This is the moment of the show that you've been waiting for out there. Taylor Swift becomes first woman to have 4 albums on Billboard's top 10 at once. Speak Now, Midnight's Lover and Lover is still on there? Really? Lover was on there before Folklore. Seriously? Huh. Cool. Well, you guys know how I feel about Tay Tay. She is my desktop screensaver that you can't quite see, but yeah, why not? Good for her. All right, we're running way over time today, so while we're in Rome, we might as well just continue on by taking a look at the old Twitterverse, and we'll round out the show there. Oh, actually, there isn't. Would there be any much here? Who knows? Production has been halted on Interview with a Vampire Season 2. Yeah, that's no surprising. That's not surprising. We're going to get inundated with a whole bunch of cancellations for the next couple of days. For the next couple of weeks. Actually, probably right until this thing gets finished. Why is Star Trek's Next Generation trending? I don't know. Altitude Films, upcoming horror. Talk to Me, directed by. Okay, so they pre-recorded some interviews that they can use for Fortnite. I don't know how that works. CEO David Zaslav has made $498 million in the last 5 years, 384 times as much as the average writer. Again, yes. Why does anybody's salary need to be that high? I understand that they're top of the totem pole. So each year he made like just under $100 million. Maybe the fall of the big blockbusters will bring this down. Because it's only because movies make $1 billion that these guys get paid this much, right? If your business only makes a profit of $50,000 a year, but you're making $50,000 profit, obviously you don't have that profit to pay the owner a salary like that, right? So if your movies make billions of dollars, then you can pay your CEO that. But if the movies aren't making billions of dollars, then the CEO will make less. But they'll be incentivized to cut and try to hold on to that salary as if that's, again, you're making millions and millions of dollars, man. Why do you're already set up for life? Oh my God, it's just like how the greed, your kids, your grandchildren, your grandchildren's children will never have to work again in their lives for 1 year of that salary. 1 year. But you, for the last 5 years, you made that much. And you can't give the writers and actors a fair cut. And all that would cost you, it wouldn't even cost you $100 million to make some of the concessions. It's ridiculous. And it just gets me all worked up. It does. I wanted to end with a cool thing, but I guess the Barbenheimer thing will have to do. Somebody trying to cut in the 2 posters there. Happy Barbenheimer release. Yeah, so I'm going to go see Barbie first. I'll see Barbie on Saturday, and then I'll see Oppenheimer on Sunday. Just due to time constraints. Let me just look at the schedule here. I want to see if if Sunday. What's the earliest show on Sunday? 2 o'clock in the afternoon for Oppenheimer on Sunday. That'll be like 3 o'clock, 5:30ish by the time I get out. Let's see if I can take a look at. Oh, you don't have it updated. Huh. Really? Landmark needs to update their web pages a lot better. Oh, there we go. Sunday. Again, 2 o'clock. Because, see, only 3 showings. You only have 3 showings for Oppenheimer. You got 4 there for Barbie. And that'll grow. Because it's a 3-hour film. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for me. Join us tomorrow for more movie news. Not at 11 a.m. We'll go back maybe to the 11 a.m. show. I may just change this to 10:30. I've been having so much fun doing it at 10:30. That's enough for me. If a trailer drops or anything like that, I'll get it out as soon as possible. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for more movie news here on Mirror Domains.